10 seconds.
Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is Jennifer L. Smith. I still don't know what the L's for. I'm going to find out. Not on air, though. Welcome, Jennifer.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm excited to be a part of the show this evening.
It's kind of funny how we met. We were both at the IPEC retreat, and IPEC is the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. And it was the first time ever, and we both had a booth next to each other, and so we kept talking, and it was like, oh, you're the president of ICF New Jersey. I used to be the president of ICF in New York, and we just kept talking. So, you know what? Come on this show. So I'm thrilled that you did. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to talk all about, she's just rebranded, and we're going to talk all about your new brand.
Yes, and I'm excited to talk about it because it ties back to the program and the cards and the intent of why
he's passionate, and this is the passion card. But first, let me tell you a little bit about the Coaching Game. The Coaching Game is based on points of view, which is a brilliant tool that was created in Israel. And it's cards. It's a series of 65 cards and so many more layers to that. And each card is designed to bring right brain and left brain thinking together. And the results are usually pretty fantastic. Jennifer was telling me last night that she just did a little random thing, because you can self-coach your thing. And passion, it keeps coming up. And passion is it's her card right now. So it's kind of strange. It's like, I don't know if your mind makes you pick it, or then I always do mine face down, so I don't know what the story is. But so let's see. Let's get started. As you can see, she's the founder of PassionateLeaderInstitute.com, and that's a new venture for her. So we're going to find out. Let's find out first, what made you get into coaching?
Well, it's interesting you asked that question.
Oh.
I got into coaching because I really love helping leaders unleash their potential, see the greatness within them, and really step into a place of being authentic that allows them to achieve awesome results.
Wow. What were you doing before? How did you know that turned you on?
Well, no.
Well, let's say it ignited your passion. How's that? We'll keep with the theme here.
We'll
yes.
keep with the theme.
Yes.
Well, it actually happened because I started in accounting, actually, when I was in corporate America, and woke up one day and realized I didn't want to be an accountant. Not the best timing, because it was during the CPA exam.
Oh.
Yes, 2 parts in.
Oh, no.
And from there, I went into the Six Sigma Quality Program and started working with leaders more closely, coaching them on implementing process improvements. And that's when I really knew I enjoyed working with leaders. Yeah.
Wow. So, and coaching, I'm a firm believer that coaching calls who it wants. And coaching called you how? How did you hear about coaching? Had you heard about it, or was it something out there?
It was something out there, that's for sure.
When I started, I wasn't sure. I didn't think it was out there. I was like, what am I doing? But that was way back. Yeah.
Well, you're right that it really did find me. So when I was in the quality program and working with leaders, I didn't call it coaching. I really called it facilitating discussions with leaders, helping leaders. And then when I moved into human resources and the function, that's when I really embraced the concept of coaching and started to coach leaders more officially, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then
Were you sneaking it in, or were you saying, hey, I'm coaching here?
I was still sneaking.
Yeah. I think that's how we all kind of started. It's like, well, let me sneak this in.
Yeah.
And we will see what happens here if anybody catches me.
That's right. Well, what were you doing? I was actually facilitating a discussion with the leader.
Yes, a little coaching on the side, but it's all right.
That's right.
We don't have to tell you that.
That's right.
So from there, are you a full-time coach now?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
So I do this full-time.
I like that, yeah.
And when I say full-time, it's full-time coaching along with facilitating leadership development sessions. Now I'm also speaking at conferences and universities and companies about leadership as well. And that's what I do 100% of the time. And I absolutely love what I do, which is exciting.
Wow. As opposed to being an accountant where you're like, oh no, what am I doing? Yeah,
Yeah, those numbers in Excel and you know.
yeah. It's good for you. I'm so thrilled. I know somebody who can do that, but I can see where this would be a little more entertaining. So when you started out, what were you? You were specializing in leaders, but no, not really. You weren't saying that, were you? Or were you?
When I started out, I was specializing in the focus on organization development and leaders.
Okay.
So I got my master's degree in organization development and human resources with a concentration in organization development.
Oh, okay.
And when I left corporate America, my focus was really on how can I go into organizations and help them increase the effectiveness of their programs. Because what I learned is many didn't calculate the return on investment, and if they did, they weren't sure what to do with it and if it was really credible. And because of my accounting background, it really allowed me to pull both worlds together, so to speak.
That's a nice combination.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have a crazy resume too that bounces all around. But once you get it together, it's like, oh, this helps and this enhances, and it's like, wow, I've got a full package here. And I was telling you before the show started, it's like, I think that's the one thing that I missed in coach training was business development. It's like, you know, you just kind of think, oh, now I'm a coach. They'll come get me. Nah, it doesn't happen that way. I wish I could tell you it did, but it doesn't. So you combined your past, so that wasn't a waste. That was an asset.
Exactly.
With training and well, coach. No, not coaching, but organization development and leadership. So when did you decide, I really like leaders a lot?
Well, I decided I like leaders a lot when I was in the Six Sigma Quality Program. I didn't really own it until I left corporate America. Because when I started working on the projects on organization development and return on investment, what I found is the organizations would have me presenting the data to their leaders because I could sell it to them.
Right.
And I enjoyed that interaction and the back and forth, and when they'd ask the questions and then really stimulating their thought and getting them to think bigger about, well, if you don't do this, what's going to happen? What are you going to miss out on with your team and your organization? And so it was right around when I started my business that I really embraced, you know what, it is leaders. It's not everyone in the organization. And it's not every type of function that you can focus on. It's honing in on how do you help leaders be very effective. And it's not even the managerial skills aspect, because people will say, well, is it more delegation? Is it more this? That might come out. But it's really the whole essence of leadership, which is helping individuals move from one place to the next. It's helping them really bring out the best in their employees to realize an end result. And so I always think of leadership as choosing behaviors that allow people to go on journeys so they can achieve their results, which unleashes their potential. And in essence, the team achieves its results, the department achieves its results, and the company achieves its results.
Okay, let's go through that because obviously these cards are perfect. She's got choice was one of her cards. So you're saying this. So say that again. You define leadership as choosing.
Yes, choosing behaviors, and that's a key there because some people will think, wow, if I just give people another leadership model and tell them these are the newest 5 skills they need to focus on, that they'll just miraculously become these awesome leaders. And the missing link is it's all about choice. Leaders have to be invited into their own developmental process and then realize at the end of the day, it's them choosing to use those behaviors that will create the results that they're looking for.
As they go on their leader journey. So these are perfect cards for her, yes. So we have the journey, the choice, and the passion. Okay, so let me ask you, are you, without getting into politics, are you a proponent of trickle-down theory? If you take care of the people who are guiding the people, then by almost nature, then they're going to have more, offer more choices to the people below them so they can expand. Yeah?
Yes, exactly. So there's different philosophies on this, and people will say you have to work from the top down. And my philosophy isn't necessarily you have to influence the CEO in order to have an influence, but you do need to influence the leader. You can't have the individual contributors really rallying without buy-in from that leader in order to really change a culture.
Okay.
And so from the top down is really getting that leader in touch with what is authenticity to them and what does that mean to them and what's really important to them and how do they want to be perceived and what's the legacy they want to leave behind when they go to their next team or when people are talking about them at a cocktail party and mentioning them in their team. And when leaders get really clear about that and they step into this place of what I call the passion zone, then they're creating passionate teams because they're now leading in a different way. They're leading in a way of really focused on bringing out the best in their team. They're leading in a way of appreciating their team for all the wonderful, beautiful gifts and skills and talents
And
that they
diversity,
have. Yeah, and the diversity, right? So they're now embracing that, and they're bringing passion out of their team as well. So if you think about it, if you start with the leader and the leader's on fire and passionate, and they're choosing those behaviors and having those type of discussions, and they're bringing that out of their team, of course then the team and the organization is going to be more passionate and achieve its results. So for me, yes, it is really starting with the leader. Maybe not the CEO. I would love it if the CEO would be passionate. Yet I'm not going to say if the CEO doesn't do it, no one else should.
Okay.
And a lot of people will say, well, it's got to be top down from the top. And if the CEO isn't passionate, how can I be passionate? I hear leaders say that all the time.
Yeah.
And I challenge them and I say, yet you're leaving your legacy.
Ah, nice. Okay.
You're not leaving their legacy. They're leaving their legacy.
Yeah.
What do you want to choose to do?
Can one question, can everybody be a leader?
I believe that there's different kinds of leaders.
No.
And so there are leaders who, like for example, women who are single mothers, they really are the leader of their household.
Okay.
Parents who have children are really leading their family. And we may not think about it that way, yet if we all stepped into this place of, wow, I'm really leading, I'm really helping develop people because they're developing their children, I'm really leaving a legacy, then we might think our roles very differently.
I love that because I do a little bit of retirement coaching, and I tell the people, and they're going, "Oh my God, what am I doing now?" I know there's nobody. I go, "You're now the CEO of your life." It's like, you make all the choices, you get to go on whatever journeys you want. So that's great. I love that you're doing that. It's like, yes, there are leadership aspects to many different things. You don't have to work at a desk and have a team of 17 below you. You can lead a lot of things. And if nothing else, you can lead your own self, which is, and that might be where the CEO comes in. It's like, it's like, okay. But yeah, and I like the word legacy too. Tell me a little bit more about legacy. It's like, how do you define that?
Yeah, it's the imprint that a leader leaves behind when it's moved on to its next position or company. And that imprint is the impression and the feeling and the emotions and the thoughts and the memories that it has left in the people that it's touched. And most of us don't think about a legacy often and say, oh, I'm going to leave this legacy. Or if we talk about legacy, we think about the monetary value. Oh, I'm leaving property or a business as legacy. Yet, whether you're single or whether you're married or whether you're working in corporate as a CEO or whether you're an individual contributor, you do have an opportunity to leave a legacy. Because every conversation, every interaction is an opportunity to choose behaviors that leave an imprint in someone's heart and in their mind.
What kind of legacy are you leaving and you're not leaving yet, as ICF president for the New Jersey chapter?
Wow.
Surprise question.
Yeah, that was. Wow. So
Go ahead. It's time for you to blow your own horn because I know you're doing some cool stuff out there. I saw it at IPEC and I'm hearing about the rest. So tell us. Okay, let's take the onus off you. What's been happening in New Jersey ICF?
Well, I'll own it since I challenge my leaders to own it.
I've been there. It's a hard job, a lot of work. I think you should. Yes.
Well, when I started the year, one of my goals was to really ensure that ICF New Jersey coaches were known in the state of New Jersey, and they were positioned as a go-to authority and a go-to organization when people, whether at an individual level or company level, were looking for coaches. And so some of the things that we've done this year have really been around attending different events and sponsoring them, like how we met at
Right,
IPEC.
the IPEC retreat, yeah, yeah.
And so that was a way to get our name out there, and we signed up some coaches on the spot, which was wonderful.
Yes.
We also partnered with the Jersey Shore Human Resource Association and sponsored one of their events so that we could get our name out there. We've partnered with organizations like Dress for Success. And
That's amazing.
yes, to help the women
I
really.
wish I'd thought of that. I love that idea.
Well, there's still time.
There is, but I'm not the president. So I'll pass it on. No, that was a great idea. So what you did, in addition to giving, you know, the organization gives them clothing and stuff, but you gave them that little bit of leadership stuff again, or at least team player stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you toot your own horn? Yeah.
So the team really helped them embrace their greatness from an essence to go into interviews a little bit more forthright and a little bit more strong and a little bit more confident, which is wonderful because they can take that with them when they leave the organization or when they're going off doing other things. You know, clothes can come and go.
Right, styles are certainly, yes, but self-confidence and
exactly.
Yeah, and it needs to be instilled and reinforced constantly. Good for you! Wow, that was great.
So we've had a lot going on.
What you got? What you got planned for the future?
Well, as we're moving forward in the year, one of the most important things that I work with leaders on all the time is appreciation. And I believe it's going to be one of the most critical skills that leaders need to embrace and use in the 21st century and beyond. And so I'm practicing what I'm preaching. And as a part of ICF New Jersey, we're looking to really appreciate the volunteers who help us. And what I know is coaches, they make their livelihood based on their time. And for those that volunteer and they donate their time, they don't receive any money from us, and the least that we could do is actually invite them to an event and not just recognize them, because recognition is around the output. In my definition, I should say. It's the output of an event. At the end of something, you say, oh, wow, great job, great doing this. Yeah, we're going to really appreciate their talents and their skills and get to the heart of what is the uniqueness that they've been bringing to our organization to help us run these different events.
Wow.
So I'm really excited about that.
When's that going to take place?
Well, it's in plan for this fall. We're not exactly sure the date yet. And we'll actually be sending an invitation out to the invitees to ask them which date will be best. So sometimes organizations would just pick a date and actually say we're going to go with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're actually practicing the art of inviting them into the process of their own appreciation event.
Wow.
By asking them what dates will be best. And then we've selected a venue. We're going to have it in a nice restaurant, and we're planning kind of like a red carpet entrance for them. And,
so I want to be a volunteer. Yeah. Nice.
So
very
really,
nice.
the goal is to make them feel special.
Okay, fantastic. And that, believe me, I know that doing president work for ICF and in the chapter is just so time-consuming and so rewarding, but time-consuming. So congratulations on getting all of that done, because a lot of times just getting the meetings together and keeping your board straight, it takes all your time. So you've managed to do a lot of really cool things on the side, which is great.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, I know. I'm sure ICF appreciates it also. All right, so let's get back to leaders. Tell me what makes a passionate leader, and then give me like a couple of things that we could do in whatever leading things we're going to do. In a passionate leader, what are some of the qualities?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that question, because some leaders will say, what's the difference between a leader who's engaged and a leader who's passionate? And an engaged leader does put thought and energy into their work, and they achieve results. A passionate leader, on the other hand, isn't just putting energy and thought into their work. They're also bringing in the emotion and the care and the concern along with that. And so it's now taking it to the next level, because passionate leaders, they actually have a desire to develop their teams. They have a desire to bring out the best in other people. So you'll often find that they have a drive to mentor and to be a leader coach in an organization, even if they're not allowed to. Passionate leaders are those individuals who are looking for something bigger than just the end results. So they're constantly finding ways to help organizations and teams bring out the best in themselves outside of even their own team. So they're really looking for that development even outside of their own team, and of course the development within themselves. And so they typically have a hunger to read books and to take assessments and to think about how they can be better.
Oh, so they kind of go the extra step. It's like, okay,
yes.
engage is like, I'm getting it all done and I'm doing it good and it's happening. But you're saying passionate means you go that extra mile, so to speak.
Exactly. And you know you're in your passion zone, because then it doesn't feel like work. It feels like fun.
That's what they say. It's like, you know, if you find something you love to do, you'll never work another day in your life.
Exactly.
And that's I think that's why a lot of us chose coaching. It was something that you were passionate about, you know, and figuring it out along the way, which is kind of cool. I'm still working on it, but it's kind of cool.
Well, it's the journey. This
Yes, it's the journey. Yes, that's my tagline. Like, enjoy the journey. It's not a destination. You're never really going to get there. So have fun. And if you get there, then it'll change. But that's all good. So what are challenges that leaders face today? And as far as, well, no, what are they, just in general, what are some of the challenges that might get in the way of their passion?
Yeah, there's a number of challenges, such as limited resources, time and money, or a resource or a team member will leave and then they can't backfill. And they're frustrated because the work stayed the same, even though the person and the body is now gone. They get frustrated because we're more global now. They're communicating across countries, across cultures, across languages, and really wondering, how do I do that effectively? Because they want to appreciate and value their colleagues, yet they don't exactly know how to do that. And so they get frustrated about that. They're also frustrated about wanting to motivate and stimulate their team. Yet they're not quite sure, oh, well, what should I do? I've tried everything in the book and it's not working.
What's wrong with these people? Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing that'll get their passion is those employees will say have an attitude problem.
It's got to be them. Got to be them.
Yes. So those are just a few things. Along with one that's been even more popular is when leaders get feedback around communicating more effectively, having more executive presence, yet they don't get the details of how to really do that. They're just told, wow, you need to do something different.
Right.
You know, I can't quite put my finger on it, but you're just not performing at optimal levels to get this promotion right now.
Yeah.
And so they get really frustrated and they lose their passion.
And then you have the deadly 360 where you're getting bombarded from all sides. It's like, wait a minute. You know, I'm trying to please my boss, and my the subordinates are really saying, and this isn't working. So yeah, and the pace. I would think the pace. Everything is so fast now because of internet and email and who picks up a phone, you know, nobody. And yeah, there are many challenges. So what tips would you give to a person who's interested in developing maybe just a bit of leadership passion?
Yeah. The first would be focus on your authenticity and get really clear about who you are, what's important to you, what you value. I work with a number of leaders that'll say, wow, I have one set of values at home and another set of values at work. How can you have passion and be happy if you feel you have to have two sets of values?
That's such a good point. But that's a whole other show where you can't bring your real self to work.
Exactly.
And I think that was why I think that's why I got out of the corporate world, because it was like, I don't know who I am anymore, but I don't like who it is. I don't like me anymore. So, and it was like, I can play the game, but I don't want to play the game. And someone was on this show, Lena Beck, and she does professional women's coaching, and it's specifically leaders. And the statistic for women who make it to the top echelon and leave, it's 80%. And I'm going, really? And I go, oh, I'm one of those people, of course. What am I talking, really? Yeah. So that's a challenge, too. Is there a gender difference also in a leader? I mean,
there are definitely some gender differences. And yet what I'm learning in amazement is that there's a ton of similarities. The difference is we as women are more comfortable talking about it. Yes. Men are comfortable talking about it when the conversation's confidential. It's a coaching session.
And they'll deny it if you ever tell anybody it didn't happen. Yeah.
They're like, remember, this is confidential, right?
Do you think, in honesty, do you think the rules are a bit different for women and men?
Yes, they are.
Shame, isn't it? But yeah.
And even though a number of organizations have affinity group programs or diversity training or inclusion training and really spend a lot of money and effort on it, they haven't been able to make the shift that I think is needed, especially as we move into this next century, and especially because of all the generations that we have in the workplace. So really finding a way not to just have numbers and to say, okay, we have X number of women, and then say to the women, okay, this is what it takes to get into this role, because what happens is then they become someone that they're not comfortable being.
Right.
They're not authentic. They do the role for a period of time, and then they leave corporate America. If you think about it, it's almost asking a woman to play a man's game.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that women or men, one is greater than another. It's just how can we help organizations embrace the beauty of both, appreciate what women bring to really appreciate what women bring to the table in the organization, and nourish that and allow them to excel with their strengths, as well as allow men to excel with the strengths and what they bring to the table. And be genuine about a caring and concern and compassion for both. And that's something that companies and organizations struggle with.
We need another show because we only have like 30 seconds left. And yeah, new definition for success. Authenticity is so important. I know we both do mentor coaching, and I tell the coaches that bring yourself, because that's the one thing you've got going for you that's totally nobody else could take from you. So that's for that. Jennifer Smith, I'm thrilled that one, that we met, and two, that you agreed to come on this show. I ask you to check her website, which is passionateleaderinstitute.com. And I want to thank you for being on the coaching game. This is fascinating. You got to come back.
Well, I certainly would come back. I enjoy it. And thank you for having me. It's been wonderful spending this time with you.
Thank you.